Hey all my people, how you doing? I hope you're having an amazing damn day. I am here to tell you a few tips and tricks on how to make career mode, a mode that has been so stagnant for God knows how many years, a lot more fun. Try out these tips. If you enjoy them, let me know down below. But guys, the most important thing is that you have fun when playing manager mode. You know, because obviously, over the years they've added a few new things, the developments, all that stuff. But career mode isn't as fun as what it was when it first came out. Like those first few FIFAs where you could be a manager and do everything, it was amazing. And then it's kind of stagnated over the last few years. I mean, between FIFA 22 and FIFA 17, has career mode really changed that much? They've added training, nice. They've added some developments, things that you can change positions, which is really cool feature, but you're always wanting more, and EA never seem to do it. So here are some tricks and tips on how you can improve your time and enjoyment levels with career mode, because it is a great mode, but you often find yourself wanting more, like I said. So off the bat, buying and selling players for the correct amounts of money. You don't want to be buying a player for 100 million when he's not really worth 100 million. You don't want to be selling players like a Felipe Coutinho for 50 million when in real life you'd only fetch you around 10. You know, so in the game, of course, Felipe Coutinho is like an 83 or 84 overall player, so he can't fetch you 50 million. But it's a lot more fun when you take the realistic approach and you sell him for the 5 million that he would actually fetch in real life, or you would sell Samuel Umtiti for the 10 million that he would fetch in real life. To do that and take that money, that little bit of money that you have, and then invest it back into the team and just grind out a good team from that. It makes the career mode a lot more challenging for you and a lot more fulfillment if you think about it. I mean, think about grinding for 5 seasons and then eventually, you know, grabbing that Champions League trophy, that elusive trophy that everybody wants to win. You know, I mean, another great idea is implementing the COVID rules. You're only allowed to spend about 50% of your actual transfer budgets. So a team like Manchester United, who have like 150 million, you can only spend about 75 million because it's a COVID market. That's a brilliant idea. And then it slowly reduces the amount of time that you would initially spend, or it actually increases the amount of time, that you would initially spend in a career mode versus the time that you would actually spend in a career mode. Because essentially, you have 4 seasons of a career mode. Say, you start a career mode, specifically a manager mode, with Manchester United, and within 4 seasons, you've won the Premier League 3 or 4 times, you've won the Champions League at least once, and then it kind of becomes a bit stagnant, a bit boring. But if you implement these rules, it doesn't become stagnant or boring anymore. I mean, another great idea would be to have at least one youth player pop up through the youth system every season that you are in charge. What that does is it then forces you to make some tough decisions with your team. So if you have an amazing winger come through your youth system, but then you've got a Jadon Sancho or a Rashford on one of your wings, one of them has to go eventually to make room for this youth wing or the youth prospect. And it makes things a bit more interesting, a bit more difficult, because all of a sudden you're stuck with real manager thoughts and everyday life that a real manager would have to go through in order to fulfill his goals that are set by the club. Think about that. That's, you know, it's a good idea to at least one youth prospect per season, have them come in, start a few games, and eventually push that initial first team player out the team. Maybe, potentially, I don't know. Another great idea is to rotate your team as much as possible. So, you know, in football, teams have cycles. There's normally 3 to 4 year cycles that a team has, and then you have to kind of bring in some new, fresher players. So, if you kind of get over playing with your Bayern Munich team or your Borussia Dortmund team after four seasons, that's fine. Sell Erling Haaland, sell Lewandowski, sell these players and bring in new ones, or bring in some youth prospects. Sell the lot and you know, refurbish your team, rejuvenate your team. It's just fresh ideas, because then you're not going to be winning every game all the time. Because then it adds a new challenge to you. Now you want this young player to score 40 goals a season like Erling Haaland was, or Robert Lewandowski was. You want this goalkeeper to get 20 clean sheets per season. And it just freshens things up a whole lot more. And it's pretty damn realistic, if you're asking me. I mean, if you think back to Sir Alex Ferguson, he constantly was looking to improve his teams by bringing in a new set of staff, or obviously you can't do that in FIFA, but bringing in, selling David Beckham and bringing in a Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo was 18 at the time. Man came in and became the GOAT. It's just, things like that can happen, and it's not a bad thing. And I know sometimes you become very attached to certain players, but it makes things so much more entertaining and really enjoyable when you're like, okay, I'm really attached to a Jude Bellingham at Borussia Dortmund, but I'm going to let him go to a Manchester United, and then I'm going to bring in the next youth prospect, you know? So it does make things a lot more interesting. So give it a try. People, find new challenges. So if you are not invested in maybe selling your whole team and starting again almost from scratch, then maybe either you can get fired or find another job and then build a super team to go up against your super team that you've already built, because that is absolutely incredible to do. I mean, last season we were with Arsenal, built a super team with Arsenal, then we went to Real Madrid, built a super team there, and more times than not we faced each other in the Champions League final, and it was always so entertaining because it was the team that you originally got with versus the new girlfriend, essentially, or however you want to verse it. But it makes things so much more interesting. So either you can get fired, and that's very easy to do this year's FIFA. Like, you either just don't complete any of the tasks that the board sets for you, or you just hand out insanely massive contracts to players that are undeserving of it, or you just buy players for incredibly high amounts of money, which is also not a bad idea. And then you can potentially start off in a lower team because you've been fired. You start off with a lower team, you build them up, and then you have them rival your former team, and it just content. But I must say, finding a new team is always difficult because sometimes you just become too emotionally attached to the current team that you're with. So it is difficult, but like I say, if you do tend to do it, it does make things a whole lot better. And then finally, good people, implement a transfer strategy. If you've watched my career mode videos, you know that I do this all the time. I like to sign players of the same nationality as the club I reside with. So if it's Manchester United, English players. If it's Real Madrid, Spanish players, majority of the time. You don't want to be signing like half of France and you're in Spain, or, you know, I don't know, I just prefer that, you know. And then maybe you only sign, you have the Rolf Rangnick approach, and you only sign players that are 24 or under, because then you have young, good prospects that you can then develop and then sell on for bigger prices, you know, like the Ajax system. Essentially, Ajax develop youth players, sell them on for massive loads of money, recoup that money, invest it back in the club. Obviously in FIFA you can't really do that. Yes, hopefully in future you can improve the stadiums, improve training facilities. That would be major steps into improving career mode, because then it actually feels like your money is not just spent on players. But anyway, so yes, implementing a transfer strategy, only buying same nationality players, only specific ages, maybe even specific overalls. So if you are a developing team, say you're a team from the championship, you're developing players, and you have a player who's 85 overall, it is realistic to sell that player onto a bigger club. So say you're at Nottingham Forest, you've got a nice little winger, he's amazing, he's doing his bits for you. At the end of the season, you survive the relegation, and it's great. But now that young player who's helped you a lot throughout the season, in real life, he would probably get a move to a team that's a bit bigger than you. And that makes it a lot more fun, because you sell that player, you then take some of that money, buy another player, maybe that's slightly lower rated, because that's normally what happens. I mean, if you look at Jack Grealish and Buendia, Jack Grealish goes to City for 100 million. That 100 million gets broken up into 5 different transfers, or 4 different transfers of Danny Ings, Buendia himself, and Buendia becomes Jack Grealish's natural replacement. So do you see what I mean here? Like, you can do it. You can do it. And it does make things very interesting, to say the very least. So yeah. Anyway, people, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button down below. Don't forget to check out the Barcelona Career Mode. Season number 2 will be out fairly soon. I know I have had a few people ask me about it, but don't worry, we're getting there. It's a work in progress. I've kind of stopped with the Career Mode for a little bit, needed a bit of a break from it, but I'm back. Going to be recording some later on, actually, and then Season 2 should be out sometime next week. So, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time in watching this video, and of course, I hope you guys have an amazing damn day.